Adam is opening a, for those of you at home who may not be watching on Vimeo, Adam is opening a fortune cookie to determine the path of tonight's show. Go ahead.
Check this out.
Spill that all over the rug. Don't worry about it.
That sounded pretty good. I closed my knees. Next full moon brings an enchanting evening.
By your command, you are listening to the Movie Guys Showcast.
Attention. The movie guys love movies. Any comments made by E's Fashion Police that inspire the movie guys to quit their show are purely for entertainment purposes only.
Well, then, I quit first.
Nah, I quit more.
Yeah, I quit harder.
Everybody jumping ship on E's Fashion Police. Making it the first time I've talked about that show.
I know, right?
Well, tell me about it. What was the controversy?
Well, somebody said something, and then they all piled on. Rancic, the human skeleton, right? The walking...
Dead.
The walking...
Juliana Rancic.
The walking hanger.
She said something about Zendaya's dreadlocks, and it was considered offensive. And Kelly Osbourne said, I'm out of here. And then Kathy Griffin said, I'm out of here. And now the audience has said, I'm out of here. And now E has said, you're out of here. The show is off the air.
The whole thing, yeah, the whole thing. Like, they all just they all rushed to quit in self-righteousness. And I think the real irony here is that once Joan Rivers died, the whole show went to shit. And who would have thought that Joan Rivers was the voice of kindness and sensitivity? It was Joan Rivers all along.
It just makes me a little bit nervous because I feel like I often say things that are inappropriate and racist and wrong. And I don't know, when I hear, like, whenever I see somebody that looks like they haven't, showered at a Ren Fair, I make jokes about they might smell like patchouli.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't understand where you draw the line. Like, if someone looks like they might smell like patchouli, you can't say that now?
Now, there is a stereotype for white people with dreadlocks.
Yeah, they're surfers and they're stinky.
If you don't realize someone is black and they have dreadlocks and you make the joke about white people with dreadlocks, then that is inappropriate.
Right.
But
yeah, what's Zendaya?
Maybe still just a patchouli joke, right?
I just don't know when to use my patchouli jokes.
What's Zendaya doing here? Shouldn't she be surfing? Would that have gotten the show off the air?
Right?
Wait a minute, Zendaya? Oh, I thought this was the kid.
No, not the singer.
Not Sanjaya?
No, Sanjaya is the singer from the American Idol.
Oh, because that joke would have made sense if it was Sanjaya.
Yeah.
You were so stupid.
Well, you know Indians and their hang gliding.
Yeah, I'm just...
We've got to stop right now.
Welcome to the Movie Showcast, everybody. Part of the vast and sprawling Movie Guys empire. And to think that in some countries, these dogs are eaten. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with jokes, rants, sketches, characters, bits, special guests, and more as we broadcast from the Admiral's Club in an area of Southern California they call Burbank Airport Adjacent. They don't stop making movies, so we don't stop making comedy shows about movies, which means you can get a new show from us every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, Vimeo, PulpEpic.com, Stitcher, Player.fm, and, of course, themovieguys.net, absolutely free. And we encourage you to subscribe where you can. And if you do, especially on iTunes, still no charge.
You know, Paul, that list makes it sound as though we are actually sweeping the internet.
We are Swiffering, at least.
By the way, I just want to say, I did go, a couple new reviews got put on iTunes, and I think a lot of people have discovered our show recently. We've had some bigger profile guests, and just, I don't know. Oh, and then we had the Oscar. I think we picked up a lot of Twitter followers for our Oscar feed that we did, and so we got a bunch of new reviews. So yeah, I just want to stop, and say, please, if you feel like you've uncovered a pretty cool secret in that our awesome show, that super listenable show that you've become addicted to, get on iTunes and write something nice about it. Somebody wrote something. We've got all 5-star reviews, and it's all, I mean, if someone just comes upon the show and they like movies, they're gonna go, that's pretty good. That's I think we're speaking your language. And then somebody was just had the 1-star, the hosts are lame, and that was it, or something like that.
Not very good.
Not very good. Of your review was so lame.
Yeah.
Look, somebody just went into detail about what they liked about the last 2 episodes.
I know. Yeah, it's really cool.
All we're asking is that
everybody
if
else.
You like the show, tell 3 friends, and then have those 3 friends tell 3 friends. It's just that simple.
And so on.
And so on.
And your hair will look fabulous after that.
The Amway of podcasts.
Listen, if you didn't catch all those places where the show exists, we're also on WBAD.net. Basically, just search the Movie Guys on Yahoo, Bing, or Google. And we come right up. Speaking of themovieguys.net, don't forget to head over there for great reviews and articles, including our take on Focus, The Duff, Predestination, Avenged, and more. I'm your host for the hardest working podcast on the airwaves, Paul Preston, here with Adam Witt.
That's an alrapist.
Karen Volpe,
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
and Bart Caius.
Are you crying? There's no crying in the movie, guys.
Later in the program, we'll be joined by the filmmaker who directed 10 Till Noon, the documentary We Run Shit, and now a new animated short entitled The Apple Tree, Scott Storm. will be with us. Before that, we'll do what makes us unique, movie previews, preparing you for what's opening in theaters this weekend. Regret not paying attention to the first Divergent movie? Fear not. The sequel to what we are now being told was a popular and successful movie is hitting the screen this weekend. The Divergent Series, Insurgent. And later in the show...
Keep your eyes open, my friend. It's the ones who aren't after you that do you in the end.
What's going on, Chip?
The company's clearing house.
You'll have to expose them. It's the one shot you got.
That's Ray Woods.
It's the one shot we got.
Last week we talked about gravelly voiced scenes like
Ray
Ed Harris
Winston.
and Liam Neeson chewing it up and Run All Night Out. I'm going to come down and everything. That's all Sean Penn and Ray Winstone and everybody. That's all they're doing in this movie. The whole movie is really, it's all down here.
Yeah.
Nothing is really, you
You get
gotta
the
take
feeling
nothing to the high register in this whole
He's got a mortgage due. Because when has he done an action movie like this? This is so not him, right? This is.
I don't know how actiony it is. I was thought the same thought,
Yeah.
but this might be a lot more political and
Yeah, Karen and I saw it, and we're gonna review
Yeah,
it
we saw it.
later in the
Oh.
show. We're gonna
Yep.
tell you our thoughts, but there is a whole humanitarian angle on it.
okay.
It's the Sean Penn. It's the movie, the action movie Sean Penn should be in.
By the way, for anybody watching on Vimeo right now, Karen is videoing the show live. There's a live stream thing.
Yeah, it's new. It's all the rage. The kids are doing it at South by Southwest.
All the kids are
All
doing
the kids are doing it. It's called Meerkat.
Yeah.
So we're meerkatting, and right now we got a couple of people watching. This guy
They're
here,
watching.
Joe Gio. Hi, Joe. He's been watching since we started this nonsense a little bit ago. And then we got this guy Martino, and he's an associate creative director, so he knows good stuff.
Martino knows his
He's
shit.
still watching. Thank God, Martino. Maybe he forgot to turn it off. And then somebody who doesn't even have their picture up. It's just that egg you get when you join Twitter. Mario.
Oh, he has no profile
No
picture.
profile. Mario's just watching. And it's even creepier because we don't know what he looks like.
Yeah,
But
right.
I don't know if you're on this Wednesday nights is when we record the show. We
Is it
get
an
up.
egg or a bird?
It's a little egg.
It's an
see?
egg that
is
will
an egg?
hatch into a bird and tweet. See what I'm saying? See what they did?
Now I get the internet.
I'm not making that up.
What? And they can write little notes and stuff if they want. So encourage yourself
Meerkat.
to do this.
Encourage yourself.
yourself. Say, let's do this.
Is Meerkat the new LO?
Is it the new Foursquare?
I don't know. It's free. And somebody joined us. Let's
Meerkat.
welcome
Meerkat.
Michael J. Gallagher. He's got a hot chick with him on there. This picture too.
I'm Gallagher. I'm mad as hell.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
Uh-oh. We know what that music means, except for the guys watching us on Meerkat who can't hear it. It means we've made an error. It happens. I think it's important to admit we've messed up, and I'm sure many of you incorrectly get all your movie news from us. So we throw things to Bart, and Bart can then lead us through this week's Retractions.
Well, Paul, if you're a regular listener to the Movie Guys, and quite frankly, who isn't, then you know that first and foremost, we are journalists,
yes.
then entertainers, then comedians, then showmen, and then certified CPR specialists.
If there's time.
Now, as journalists, we pride ourselves in getting the facts right.
Absolutely.
But as Paul mentioned, unfortunately, once in a great, great while, we do make mistakes.
Dear God, no.
Dear God, yes. For example, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the all-British actors in the second best Marigold Hotel.
The second best exotic
Exotic,
Marigold
I'm
hotel.
sorry, the second best exotic Marigold Hotel.
God forbid, the letters we would get.
Not just your regular Marigold Hotel.
That's right.
It's an exotic one.
And not
one of
your
the more
Grand
common ones.
Budapest
I'd have to
Marigold Hotel.
No.
I'd have to retract the retraction.
I know,
And
in the middle of retractions, we have to retract something.
We'll turn into some memento craziness.
I believe that's how it happened.
but unfortunately,
Yes.
I was not the only one to make a mistake. Karen
What?
was heard to say this.
What did I say?
Judi Dench.
Yep. I said Judi
Maggie
Dench.
Smith.
Very British. Yep.
Bill Nighy, but not the science guy.
He's there too.
Benedict Tuppence, Governor Bollock's Cockfosters.
Unfortunately, he couldn't return because of a commitment to Furious 5.
Oh, I bet that's spoiled.
Yeah, it hurts to hear it now, right? It hurts to hear.
Karen, what have we discussed?
It's the
no
reading
errors.
of numbers. It's hard.
This, of course, is incorrect. Benedict Tuppence, Governor Bollock's Cockfosters.
Easy for you to say.
It is. He did not appear in Fast and the Furious 5. That was just flat out wrong.
Oh.
It turns out it was actually Sir Wentworth Buggery Nottingham Scone that appeared in Fast and the Furious 5, and it was actually Benedict Tuppence, Governor Bollock's Cockfosters, who appeared in Fast and the Furious 7. So, our apologies to our listeners.
You can see where I got those confused.
I don't think that was the issue. I think the issue was actually
it was a common mistake. We've all made it one time or another in our lives, but nonetheless, we feel compelled to set the record straight and offer our sincere apologies.
Okay, great. Now that's out of the way.
Sorry.
On to the next.
I'm sorry, Paul. There is actually more.
Another retraction?
Yes, Paul. Another retraction, and this one was a grave error made, unfortunately, by our guest, superstar, all-around good guy, Jamie Kennedy, last week, and unfortunately,
Jamie Kennedy.
What did he say?
Star of Stage and Scream.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So,
who's gonna keep watching? You are. Who's gonna keep listening? You are.
We hate to do this even to our guests, but our integrity must be maintained.
I have no idea if he's been on stage. Go ahead.
I'm sure he has.
So, Paul, if you could go ahead and just play the clip of what Mr. Kennedy said in error.
Absolutely.
Richard Mall.
Oh.
Wow.
Dickie Mall, is he dead?
I don't.
I think he died.
So. Did he die?
I think
You know why?
Did Richard Mall die?
You know why I know? Because I think he died underneath a woman.
Oh, good for him.
I think he was in the act, and she was really young, and she
for
literally
him.
effed him to death.
Now, if you're going to be wrong about something, I think that would be the thing to be wrong about. If your death is erroneously reported, but unfortunately now a quick search of the Googles will reveal that Richard Mall is very much not dead. And then a further search of the Googles will reveal that he is also not having sex. So, again, our apologies to Mr. Mall and, of course, anyone who he's having sex with.
All right, great, wonderful. That's it for retractions. Thank you, Bart.
Sorry, Paul, there is one more retraction.
Really?
Yes, of course. You've heard this bit before. We always do 3. Now,
Rule of threes. Look it up or take a class.
get with the program.
We
here.
did.
Sorry, you're right. What was I thinking? Oh,
You weren't thinking, Paul. Finally, as you recall,
Yes.
I was heard to comment last week that Buster Keaton, of all people, had made an appearance on Candid Camera, the old TV prank show from the 60s. And here, Paul, if you will, is what I said.
This is Candid Camera Request Night.
oh, wait, actually, I have the clip here.
Oh, what?
I have the clip here.
Oh, okay.
This is Candid Camera Request Night. In our first piece tonight, you know the star Buster Keaton.
Oh, there you go.
The great pantomimist, the silent movie days. Buster had a routine in pantomime, which he used on the stage and in the movies, and when you saw it, you died laughing. It's the most amazing thing to watch. Here he is now.
Oh, wow. Well, Bart, I looked this up. Turns out Buster Keaton there, he did appear on Candid Camera, so that isn't a retraction at all, actually, but you were right.
I know, Paul. I just wanted everyone to hear you say that I was right.
Retraction!
All right, enough of your stupid
That was
readings. Get out
dumb.
of here.
That was so dumb.
We have movies to get to. All right, our first one is called Insurgent. Technically the second Divergent movie, making it Divergent Insurgent. The best sci-fi movie sequel title since Gattaca Schmattaca. Adam, let's preview it.
We last left the Divergent series with the first movie, Divergent. Children were being mistreated by mean old parents who just didn't understand them. What is the appeal of these young adult movies again?
In the city of Futuretopia, actually it's Chicago, but what fun is
What
that?
fun is
really?
there in that?
Children are divided into classes by their talents and abilities. The ones who are good at sports are admired, revered, and given more opportunities. Those who don't fit in are forced into band and theater. Wait a second. At some point, I think I just started describing middle school.
But those unclassifiable, super special, super amazing 20-year-olds whose genius is extra misunderstood by adults are called hipsters. Oh, no, wait, I read that wrong. They're called Divergent.
Yeah. There's no real need to sum up the plot. You've seen one of these. She's the chosen one, the last hope to organize a rebellion and liberate all of mankind. Womankind, too, I assume, if that metaphor is to hold.
In future Tropolis, citizens are divided into 5 factions based on their personalities. The town of Amity is for the peaceful, Candor for the honest, Dauntless for the brave, Obtuse for the stupid, Whiff for the flatulent, Turgid for those who get a boner in gym. Actually, I might be making these up at this point.
Basically, Triss is the leader of the us's who must fight the thems. But only after forming an alliance with those others over there.
The movie stars Shailene Woodley as Jennifer Lawrence, playing Katniss Everdeen as Triss. The film also features Academy Award winners Kate Winslet and Octavia Spencer, Academy Award nominee Naomi Watts, Golden Globe nominee Ashley Judd, and MTV Movie Awards nominee for Best Shirtless Performance Ansel Elgort.
We're so sorry, Ansel Elgort. We're so sorry.
I don't know why he gets his own theme, but he just does. Woodley and Elgort were recently seen in the non-shooty-uppy young adult movie The Fault in Our Stars, where the only oppressive regime they had to fight against was human frailty. Perhaps the most oppressive regime of all. Sad emoticon.
In the first Divergent movie, the filmmakers made a movie that looked like The Hunger Games. With their follow-up, they're making a movie with a title that simply sounds like the movie they made that looked like The Hunger Games.
Confused? Well, that's what they're hoping for. You might as well go see this movie. After all, it might be another Hunger Games movie. Who knows? We don't.
But look for the requirement that future sequels rhyme their name with the previous movie. So perhaps the next one will be Divergent Resurgent. I don't know, let's go around the room. Anyone, what could the next thing be?
Well, let's see, we had Insurgent. How about Outsurgent?
Outsurgent.
Ooh, Divergent Surgeon, the medical drama.
Ooh,
How about Divergent Urgent, the most suspenseful of the series?
Stop that.
How about Divergent Detergent for those messy misadventures?
Divergent Regurgent in 3D.
Oh,
I personally am looking forward to Divergent Submergent. The whole thing takes place in a submarine.
How about Divergent Diverginated, a coming-of-age tale?
Oh,
Well, a matter of time. We'll have all of these. And we're not far off from the truth, because here is some rare audio of the book series author Veronica Roth naming the books in her franchise. Let's listen into
All right,
this.
I can't
This is
wait.
rare.
You know, I'm coming up with a new series of books, and I'm trying to think of a new title.
Well, just come up with it the way you came up with the other ones.
Oh my god, that's a great idea. Let me see, wait a minute. Insurgent, Divergent, Banana Fan, Flovergent, Me, Mine, Mogernet, Insurgent!
Well, there you go.
That's amazing.
So-
It's so simple, you know,
Yeah,
how to
it's
come
mathematical.
up. Sometimes these things write themselves.
You know, if it feels like these sci-fi young adult movies are sequels before you can even notice the first one, and are trilogies before you can even seem to care, you are not crazy or old. The director of the first Divergent movie, Neil Berger, had to be replaced by a new director for the sequel because, and this is true, he wasn't finished making the first one.
That's the Divergent series
Bit
Insurgent.
of trivia.
As opposed to the Divergent series Divergent, this is the Divergent series Insurgent. Ay vey. And the next one is called Allegiant, which sounds like an antihistamine.
I get the over-the-counter Allegiant.
Shailene Woodley.
It's half as much. You take twice as many. It's kind of the same thing. But you
I
don't
got
have to go
prescription.
to
I'm taking the Shailene Woodley.
the shiny.
She was great in Fault in Our Stars, by the way.
I haven't seen
a
it.
movie that is like horribly pandering in
Yeah.
a lot of its filmmaking technique with cheeseball music and stuff and some. But in the middle of that, she's quite good. And I mean, I thought we probably all thought she was great in The Descendants, so she's got
she
a
was
great
great in The
career ahead of her.
Descendants.
And then now she's locked in the.
I'm into the
Insurgent
short
movies.
hair. She cut her hair for this one. She had short hair in
Well,
the.
You like the pixie thing?
She's
I
got
like the pixie thing. It's cute.
Yeah, she's very cute. But it's
Yeah.
there's this reveal even in the trailer where she reveals it, like she's like angry, like short-haired lesbian angry. I'm getting whatever needs to be gotten.
When you need to get what needs to be gotten, short
your
hair is the
hair.
way to go.
Yeah,
Lesbian short
she's
hair.
punching, she's shooting, she's doing all that.
Go with Shailene Woodley.
And then there's a scene where she fights herself.
Oh, well, of course.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like in Superman 3, is the other one like
exactly like Superman?
The other one have a goatee or like a dirtier outfit, or?
And I think there's some. I think there's some loving in this one.
Goateed Shailene Woodley.
There's some loving in this one between her and Elgort.
Oh, good. It's about
I don't know if did they get it on in the first one.
I don't know. Is it Elgort?
I'm not sure.
Or is it the other guy? There's another guy who's actually the star. We just talk about Elgort because it's.
Oh, I think you're right. Who's the tall, goofy dude?
I don't see these Tiddlers, 4 of them.
That's true.
Generally.
Wait 20 minutes.
And there's only 3 books, though. So.
Yeah. Well, but they'll divide the last one into 2.
Oh, that's
because how many would you make?
Oh, my God. So we can expect the Divergent Series.
Yes.
Allegiant Part 1.
Oh, yes.
Allegiant.
Is it true that the other guy's still making the movie?
It's true. That's a true thing. He was still making the first one when they started the second one, so he couldn't direct it. It hadn't gone to theaters
insanity.
Or been edited.
No.
Our guest, Scott Storm, who will come in later, works in the world of trailers.
Oh, cool.
And
I
so
have
we were talking last week about trailers with Jamie Kennedy, and we were telling him, oh, my God, all these trailers, they have nothing, all this trailer percussion, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he thought we were nuts. Like, you hear that? You listen? I'm like, if you stop for 2 seconds, yes, every trailer, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Wow.
Case in point, Insurgent.
You can dance to it.
I haven't looped it.
Oh, are you kidding
You haven't
me?
looped it?
I thought you made this.
Oh, you're right. This is the end of the trailer. I've seen this.
Not done yet. Still not done.
It's like a rave. I feel like I need to be taking
Jesus.
ecstasy.
Wow.
Like, enough. We're going already.
I have questions for Mr. Storm. We have got to know where this starts, how it starts, where it comes from.
That clip was dedicated to Jamie Kennedy.
Okay.
Jeez, when Jamie walks in the room, you should hear that.
I mean, clearly they catch on, but how do they begin? Maybe it's like a knock-knock joke. We just never know where they come from. They just all of a sudden exist.
Transformers.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kanye.
Wow.
Oh, well, let's get to our next movie, which
can
really
sing it.
everyone will be at this movie who's not going to Insurgent. Pretty much, it's
sure.
total counter programming. Who wants to help me preview it?
Is it based on a book? All right, then I'm in.
All right. Here we go.
I just wanted everyone else to have a chance.
Yeah. Notice how none of us
Nobody jumped in.
No one jumped in.
But The Gunman.
Nope.
Actually, The Gunman with its simple title gives us a chance to play one of our favorite games.
Guess what it's about?
The Gunman. Karen, guess what it's about?
The George Zimmerman story?
I don't think we need to see that. Bart?
Oh, is it propaganda film based on the NRA training video of the same name?
Wishful thinking. Adam?
Paul, The Gunman is the first superhero movie of 2015, and it's the origin story where Sean Penn is bitten by a radioactive gun.
Ooh. Gunman.
Gunman.
A radioactive
See?
gun.
All right, well, let's go.
Mine makes the most sense.
I want to see yours.
Also,
and I've seen this.
Incorrect. I have IMDb here. IMDb knows what's up. According to them, The Gunman is the story of a sniper on a mercenary assassination team who kills the Minister of Mines of the Congo. His name is Terrier, and his successful kill shot forces him into hiding. Returning to the Congo years later, he becomes the target of a hit squad himself. There are 38 words in that description, and over 20% of the words used refer to killing, shooting, or assassination.
Sign me up. Sean Penn.
Flowers and rainbows, pink marshmallows, big bright unicorns. Sean Penn.
Plays the sniper Jim Terrier, a man who's not only an incredible sniper, but also the winner of the least threatening surname at sniper school.
After successfully assassinating a powerful Congolese politician, or is it Congolian?
San Diegoites. San Diego in. San Diegoans. San Diegans. San Diegans.
Jim Terrier goes into hiding, adopting the name Jerry Dachshund to throw people off.
But when the organization that arranged the hit double crosses Jim, that's when the gravitas really flies. As this movie already stars Sean Penn, but it also has Idris Elba, Javier Bardem, and Ray friggin' Winstone.
Holy crap.
Now, I don't know if the theater fire codes will actually allow that much gravitas. You know what? Somebody check before I waste a trip to the movies.
This is the first time Sean Penn has played a deadly assassin since killing our Buzz at the Oscars.
And hey, Paul, it looks like Idris Elba is playing a guy with a British accent.
No, that's actually Idris's natural speaking voice.
Really? Huh. Who knew?
Everyone. Everyone actually knew that.
Still, what range?
Ray Winstone plays Stanley, a mentor to Jim. You know, it must be hard to follow advice full of quietly assured menace from a guy whose every syllable sounds like a threat.
Did you know earlier in his career, way Ray Winstone once made toilet paper. They had to take it off the market because it wouldn't take shit off anyone.
Now, The Gunman is the newest movie from the director of Taken, Pierre Morel. He once again brings his signature style, the style of where people get shot and things explode.
The director of Taken. Whoa, all right, well, take this advice, Sean Penn. Don't answer the phone.
Jim, we have a surprise for you. She is a remarkable woman, Jim.
They've taken his girl. What did we just tell you? Well, you can pretty much guess where it goes from here.
Let the real hunt begin!
Everything, that's right. Everything gets all shooty and exploding.
Penn's character sounds like one of those guys who's been in the game a long time, and one day realizes he's done some bad things.
We did some bad things.
When he thought he was helping.
We thought we were helping.
And some people would rather forget.
It never happened.
That's the way you want to play?
But he's not going to let it go that easily, right?
It's a movie, isn't it?
Hey, go find out if Sean Penn's going to take anybody's shit.
Gunman! Gunman!
So has he finally entered the pantheon of guys over 50 who are now tough guys?
No.
Well, he's been tough a lot.
Yeah, but
some people are calling this like a Liam Neeson-esque stretch to try and get that audience in his late...
Kevin Costner with 3 Days to Kill, Liam Neeson with The Taken.
You know what? I think you're right. It's a stretch to try to get that to happen. And when you said Kevin Costner, you reminded me that he doesn't succeed, much like Kevin Costner doesn't succeed.
I mean, it's like... It's strange to have Liam Neeson be this surefire action star, which he wasn't before Taken. But earlier in his career, he was Darkman. He was in an episode of Miami Vice. Yeah. Like, I don't think Sean Penn has like kind of any of that, you know.
Yeah. Hey,
Sean,
right.
Here's the thing. Paul and I saw this, and can we talk about it now, or do you want to do it?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so Paul and I saw it, and it's not a bad movie, and it knows how to be a movie, and you feel like you're watching it, and it's being
it charges
a movie.
you $12.50. It knows how to be a movie.
It does things movies do. It's not disappointing in that respect, but there's moments where. You know, we call it being bumped out of a movie. Like when you see Oprah in a movie, you go, oh, there's Oprah.
Oh, I'm sitting in a theater in seats. I forgot.
Yeah, you're not in the
Sam
movie.
Malone wearing a helmet in Saving Private Ryan. He walks in with an army hat on. You're okay.
You're like, that hat doesn't fit
that doesn't work.
him. But what happens in the beginning of the movie is they show a lot of footage of Somalia, is it?
Congo.
The Congo. And so you get a really good taste of
We got
what
that B-roll. You just know that was real footage.
You see the real footage. And then they kind of cut back and they do that thing where they come into the back lot, and you can tell you're going back lot. And you can tell that it's probably New York City street, but they have some signs up that make it look like a different place. But then you see Sean Penn, and then it actually bumps me the opposite direction because I go, oh, no, wait, this isn't the back lot. This is just Sean Penn walking around in some other country getting ready to help poor people. And then you go, wait, no, that's not Sean Penn. He's playing a character. Because we're so used to seeing Sean Penn in the Congo.
Yeah. Handing out Snickers and bottles of Evian.
Doing what he does, then all of a sudden you go, oh, that's not a character. That's Sean Penn.
Oh, yeah.
He's jacked up in this, though. He's ready for action.
Well, you mean like is he bulked up and everything?
Oh, yeah.
He's ready to be an action guy?
But you know who's really sexy and amazing and totally yummy?
I'm sitting right here, Karen.
Javier Bardem.
Of course.
And
but can you understand a damn word he says in the trailer? I could not.
No. What's the line he gives Jim? Jim,
oh, he's so
you're
sexy.
A target guy. Jim, you're a... That's the most...
Let the real hunt begin.
Oh,
yeah, but
I understood.
At the very beginning, there's this girl character who's adorable, by the way, and she's French, so she has to have the short, cute French hairdo. And the curly one, you know, that it goes to here and just sticks out sideways. And Juliette Binoche. I don't think that's who this actress was, but that could have been. So
I'll take anyone Juliette Binoche like.
Yeah, so
I'm
Juliette
fine with
Binoche
all
is
that
there.
Juliette Binoche-ness.
And Javier Bardem is just kind of like talking to her all sexy, and you think they're together, and you're like, oh my God, he's so cute. And then he's not.
Oh, he's not?
No.
He's the bad guy, right?
He's a bad guy, and he's so sexy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, just so the ladies know, he's sexy in that I'm working hard and I got like dirty clothes on sexy. Then later he becomes more successful, and then he's got like sexy suits and stuff. So you get like all sorts of stuff.
I can't keep up with you women. What do you want?
Both.
The dirty...
dirty suits.
Since I don't want to have
I just
sex
wear a
with
dirty
Javier
suit.
Bardem, can I go back to your previous point?
What was that?
Okay, the fact that Sean Penn takes you out of the movie.
Yeah.
However, I have to think part of the reason I'm going to this movie, and I just think this is something about going to movies. You know, I'm going to the movie to deliver something, and that is that I just want to see Sean Penn do these things.
Oh, yeah.
Ordinarily, I'm not interested in Sean Penn, and yet I would like to be.
He does
I would
these
like him,
things well.
You know, I would like to be in a movie that I'd like him to be in a movie that interests me. And now he's in a movie from Pierre Morel, and I'm like, okay, he's got a big gun, and I see some things exploding, and the huge gravitas of the bad guys and the semi-bad guys. Like the fact that the casting of this movie is just gravelly voice, gravelly voice, gravelly voice. Gravelly. I'm like, okay, there's a thing going on here. I see what they're doing. I think I know how to watch this one, and I don't think it needs Sean Penn to blend into the background. I want to see him be Mr. Hard Gravel Gristle. Yar.
It's a humorless movie.
Oh, there's no.
It's a total Sean Penn kind of thing that he would get involved in because it's a whole humanitarian effort in Congo that is a backdrop for this. You know, it's like.
It's kind of like
dirty
one
blood
long,
diamond type stuff.
Okay,
it's kind of like one long political Oscar speech.
Which you would fast forward by.
Yeah. But I think he does a really good job at doing this kind of movie. And again, like I said, it is this movie.
It's a mix because he also, when he resurfaces after all this double crossing, he pretty much is bad news for everyone he comes across.
Okay.
You know,
Does he go on the run and he's the guy you don't want to mess with, and somebody messes with the wrong guy?
No,
right?
not even.
Instead, it's like, holy shit, you're back. I'm probably going to die soon.
Yeah, you don't want him to show up.
You know, just,
I think you'll like it. It's he tries to get out and they pull him back in.
You always like that.
There is great action throughout it though, and it is amazing that they keep going back to these same guys when guys in their 50s want to kick ass again. You know, Pierre Morel and Kamen and
I think I would have liked it
guys.
better with Liam Neeson.
I like
everything
moment.
better with Liam Neeson.
There's a moment in John Wick where, if I could go back to John Wick, the best movie of last year, perhaps at this point, because I keep watching it.
John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick. Okay. So, so John Wick, the son of this gigantic mobster, steals his car, and then when this gigantic mobster finds out who he stole his car from, realizes like they're all dead. Like it just there's a moment where he's like,
"What? There's two Jedi in the building? We're out of here."
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, two Jedi? We're done. We're done. We're all done.
All
anyway.
right, John Wick.
John Wick.
I need to add it to my
Absolutely.
All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break, 10 seconds or so, and we'll be back with our guest, Scott Storm.
Yay!
Hang tight.
And the next full moon will bring an enchanted evening, I believe. Sorry, trying to work that back in.
And it is special guest time. This week we're joined by a guy who is in one of our favorite movies, Official Rejection, a documentary about film festivals, as it is his film, 10 Till Noon, that gets a lot of coverage in the movie as that movie surfs the waves of the film festival circuit. It's a great documentary if you haven't seen it. And now our guest is hitting the festival circuit again with a new animated short film called The Apple Tree. It's Scott Storm, everybody.
Yay. Thank you. Well, let's hope I'm going to be hitting the festival circuit because we have not been accepted anywhere yet.
Dope. Well, it's done. The movie's done, and
the movie's done.
That's next.
And
that's
it's
unusual.
out-submitted and everything.
I'm surprised you haven't been accepted because I've seen this film. And if it's true that all films are accepted or rejected because all they do is watch the first 2 or 3 minutes, you've got to take your film. The first 3 minutes are great.
Thank you.
You just want to keep watching.
And isn't that something that the Official Rejection sort of brought to light, is that they're not watching the whole thing?
Well, it depends. I've been a film festival programmer. I did it for 2 years, and it was my rule to watch everything because somebody poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. You owe them that. But I watched a lot of people who just watched the first 10 minutes and they threw it on the pile.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever watch a movie where you kind of got the feeling that maybe there was some blood, not too much sweat, and definitely no tears in this movie? You're like, I didn't try that hard.
Yeah, sometimes.
This is mostly sweat. There's no blood and tears in this one.
Yeah. No.
So tell us about The Apple Tree. So when it gets out there in a festival, someone from a fest who might be listening to this sees a title, they go, what's that movie?
Well, it's a very simple title, and I came up with it. I did some research on the internet, and I was like, oh, there's a bunch of short films with this title, but I can't think of anything else. It's what it's about. And I actually started making it because it was taking so long to get another movie off the ground. And I'm like, okay, it's nothing that you haven't heard from before, independent filmmakers. Getting the money takes a while. But I was walking in the woods one day in my parents' property, And I went a little bit further than I was supposed to. I started trespassing on someone else's, land. And I saw something in the distance. It was a little apple tree. You usually think they're going to be out in a field somewhere, but it's in the woods. It's growing. It looks a little bit gnarled, and it's all covered with junk. And people have slashed the trunk and just left trash everywhere. And it still had a little fruit on it. And I'm like, it just upset me because I'm very environmentally conscious. I'm from the Northeast.
I was going to say, where are you from?
Yeah, from Albany, New York.
No kidding.
Actually, I was actually born here in L.A., but my parents hated us so much they left when I was an infant.
I'm from Oneonta.
I have the opposite story. I'm from Jamestown, New York.
There you go.
Either way, that is well represented, and we know that that's what that looks like.
I completely got behind that immediately. I went, oh my gosh, it looks like home.
Yeah, most of the reference material came from the Catskill region, and that's where my best friend grew up.
It looked exactly like that, and there's a lot of maple trees and trees that you don't get out here, oaks and stuff.
Yeah. So this was just an idea. I said this would make a cool little animated short. It's something that I used to do a lot of when I was younger, but when I started making this, I hadn't animated in 20 years. So I just sort of...
Oh, so you had done it before?
Yeah, way back when. In college, I did a little bit of it. I took one course, and then, interesting story, Brian Singer, who you've all heard of. When he first moved out here, he directed a corporate video. And he said, I need some animation. Is that something you know how to do? I'm like, oh, sure. But this is still the days of cells where you actually had to draw the acetate, turn it over, and paint on the back. And I said, sure, I'll do it. And I did it. And it came out really cool. But it was so much hard work. And I almost quit several times because you're shooting on these big Oxbury cameras. And at one point, the guy who shot it for me did it wrong. And then came back from Brian's assistant. There's a hair in the gate. There's hair. You have to shoot it again. And I just spent 3 days shooting it. Oh, wow. And you have to take these piles of cells. You have to go and you have to do it again on film. It was horrible. And when it was done, I said, Brian, I'm glad you like it, and I'm never going to do this again. Please don't ever ask me to do this again. Wow. So that was pretty much the last time until Official Rejection came
out. Yeah, because I look at the films that I've seen, Official Rejection, documentary, and you produced that? Too, or
Official Rejection, I was the reluctant star, co-producer, and animator.
Co-producer. And then 10 Till Noon, I have not seen, but our Justin Bowler, one of the great movie guys from our website, reviewed it, and it's on themovieguys.net. You can go read a review. I haven't checked it out, but it's a crime thriller.
Yes.
So none of this led to me, and then We Run Shit is another documentary, so none of this led, time for an animated movie. And so when you did it, I was wondering if you had any of that in your background.
Yeah, it's something I always loved. I started with clay, actually. And then when I started taking the courses, I said, I like to draw. I was a big Disney movie fan, and Ralph Bakshi was a big influence early on because I fell in love with Fritz the Cat and Wizards. I saw the same summer I saw Star Wars, I saw Wizards. I'm like, this is cool. X-rated cartoons. So how can you not like that? But of course, it's just something I've always wanted to do, and I did it more as a hobby. I didn't really want to do it professionally because I knew how much hard work it was. And I knew a few people who had tried to go through the Disney route and how hard it is to get in there and what they put you through. And I'm like, I really like working with people, so I took the live action route for a few years.
And you were working with, and apparently you have a long friendship with Joe Kramer, friend of the show, who came on our show last year when he was working on Favor, another film that another friend, Paul Osborne, was working on. And he did the music. I want to play a little clip of music from The Apple Tree of Joe Kramer. Because there really isn't a clip to play. Not a lot of dialogue in this.
Nope. There's a couple of notes to read, but that was the challenge. I wanted to tell a story completely with visuals and sound. And also, I was too damn lazy to try to have characters talk. So, and it's really hard to do that. And I never quite learned how to do those timings, with exposure sheets and everything. So I'm like, I'm going to try to do it with no dialogue and see if it comes off. So.
And how did Joe get all this scored? Did he a big scoring booth or just one of those crank it out at home type things?
I worked with him specifically over the internet. I never even saw his face. We had a beer. He's a very busy guy.
Oh yeah.
And he had just had a baby a year or so ago, and we did it all over email. I met with him. We had a drink at a favorite British pub, and then I saw him. And I got this. Yeah,
so cool.
He has scored every movie I've ever made since 1985.
Wow. He's so good.
I do actually have a question about to go back real quickly to the animation. First of all, the sound design, the music is great. The ambient sound is also wonderful in this. It draws you in so much to the story, and I love the fact that there was no dialogue. But back to the animation, the choices that you've made. One of the problems, or the things that I don't like about animation, is when they add extemporaneous movement to a character, or they do things that feels like they're trying to make it more natural, but it ends up feeling less natural. And for those of you watching at home, it's this movement where somebody turns to look at you, and instead of just turning and looking, they kind of draw their head back, and then they do this. Now,
you want to see that?
poses.
You want to
Yes.
see that done? Jar Jar Binks.
Exactly.
CGI is the worst at that.
But here's
CGI
the thing,
is the worst.
Scott, you had a couple moments of that actually worked, and I don't know if you've made choices like that to do that, or if there was something about the process of animation. But there was one moment in particular that I thought was really well done. The character of the young boy is holding a ring, and he drops the ring, and it stays there just for a second before gravity takes it over, and then it hits the desk. And it's such a dramatic moment. I don't know if that was the result of a direction you had, or if you said, well, the animation isn't quick enough, or if that was just a part of the process.
I kind of just made it up as I went along.
Oh.
And it's
Well
all,
done.
And it's all about the spacing
I'll
of
stop
it
talking
and stuff
now.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Scott, where were you a half hour ago when we wanted him to stop talking? No, but that's a good point. When you told me watch the film, you said let it breathe. And I think that's a good way to watch this
exchange
film.
between the little boy and the little girl through the window is just brilliant. I just love that
Oh,
scene.
thank you. I said that because the night before I had spoken to someone and they said, "Oh my God, I love your movie." My wife, on the other hand, was bored, and she had a hard time getting into it, and it kind of took its time. And I'm like, okay, it's very European.
Well, look,
in
everyone's
its
coming
basics.
off a Wreck-It Ralph, It's like, calm down and enjoy this lovely story.
Can we describe the plot to the audience? Because we're talking about certain moments, and
Oh, sure, you can do whatever
just
you
so, just so
take it up so we know we don't say too
just so they know how this all adds up, like moments like he's saying there.
You want me to tell what the story is?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
just for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Again, I tend to be long-winded. It's about a young boy. He's very destitute. He's often left on his own, kind of a latchkey kid. And his favorite place to escape to is the woods out back. That's kind of how I grew up. And I had this actually experience with my best friend. We were much older, though, but we had a space in the woods that we kind of made. We built stuff. We built a stone throne and stuff like that when we were kids. And then we went away to college, and he called me, and he goes, I have bad news. We have a dead friend. I'm like, who died? What? He says, no, some kids came in and completely destroyed our area. And we don't know where they came from. They just came in. They ruined it. And I suppose that might have been another seed of the idea. But anyway, this kid, he goes to the woods. He loves to be there. And while he's in there, he comes upon the apple tree, which has been vandalized. And there's a fire burning. There's trash, is broken stuff everywhere. And he basically decides he's going to clean all this up come hell or high water, and just whatever happens, happens. And unfortunately, some bad things do happen.
Yeah, which we won't mention because you can watch it from there. Cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Then Sean Penn shows up, and it
and
just
Sean Penn
took me out of the movie.
turns out he's gay.
But Oprah Winfrey comes in and
Oprah. Yes.
So,
I
well,
just
let's
don't
go.
wanna ruin
Let's
the
talk
movie
about movies
for
that
everybody.
inspired you, because we ask this of every guest. What is your favorite movie of all time?
I have two.
Oh, good.
Is that all right?
That is absolutely
One is
it's only a rule now. It seems that you break the rule right away.
Yeah,
from
sorry.
everybody who comes in. So.
Yeah, because and a lot of people who know me are going to say you changed it, but now I've noticed I was in my studio, which is a tiny little room across the hall from my condo, where I do all my work, and I look, what are the two movie posters in this room?
Ooh.
So, The Duelists, which is Ridley Scott's very first film, one of
Never
the most
seen it,
beautiful
yeah.
films, and Watership Down as an animated.
Okay, I haven't seen either of those. I can't believe I didn't grow up with Watership Down. I never saw it.
Now, I saw it in the theater, but I haven't seen since.
I
although
mean-
it is on Hulu, because I wanted to rewatch it. It just showed up on Hulu.
What was I? It was 1978. That would make me 12. And I'm like, I'm watching rabbits that are murdering each other. And there's blood everywhere. And I think it's so cool. But that's not, that's my 12-year-old self. But you look at the story.
The guy who liked wizards.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also, a band of brothers, shall we say, who are being threatened by an outside force. They have to get out of there. They have to find a new place to live. They need to,
Oh my God, it's just like Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's almost like that, but it's all the famous British actors are voicing the characters, most of whom unfortunately passed away. The best music score I have ever heard.
Oh, wow.
Who's the animator of The Watership Down?
There are so many animators.
Independent.
The director is a guy who worked in advertising and decided he wanted to direct. And so he had all the money, and he went and hired the English crew. But he's an American guy. I mean, it's on the DVD. There's a special feature, and he's talking. He goes, "I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never directed. I just figured." And he's made one of my favorite films of all time.
There's going back to Wizards. There's something so cool about that '70s era of animators. The very first, because nobody would even try and be Disney. I mean, people thought Disney was insane the entire time until Disney was a 20-year proven commodity, and then all these independent people. There's Ralph Bakshi. There's who did Wizards? Oh, that's Bakshi. Don Bluth, and then some of these other animation. I mean, Saturday morning cartoons started to become a thing, and independent people like that started making like the I can't remember some of the names, but Lou Scheimer and whatever those animators. Do you know that? Anyway,
I'm sorry,
but it's so cool. It's the first era that was like, oh, well, we could do this. Like animation became democratized. Anyway, a little geeky there for a second, but
so that's does that put me in movie jail? We always bring a movie jail as
I know a lot of people.
If you haven't seen this or that movie, you're in movie jail.
They just happened. That's just the truthful answer. For years, my favorite movie was Lawrence of Arabia, and that had a very profound effect on me when I was younger. And I loved it even before I knew that Spielberg decided to be a director because he saw that. I had no idea. But over the years, I've kind of changed. In the past 10 years or so, it's been those two movies I keep going back to again and again and again.
I've always wanted to see The Duelists because I'm such a Ridley Scott fan, and it's just that first film when the people are trying to prove themselves. Ridley Scott's like really trying to prove himself with that one.
I have a quick cool story about that. I was at Sloan House, which is it was our dorms for the School of Visual Arts. It's where I met Bryan Singer in '85.
Wow.
And
is that in New York?
It's in New York. It's on 34th Street and 9th Avenue. And there was a strange guy staying in the hotel. And then Brian knocked on my door one day and he goes, "Dude, that's High Pike from Blade Runner." He's got one scene. He's got one scene in Blade Runner when Harrison Ford's talking to him. He goes, "Hey, give him one on the house." He's this bald, short guy, and he's there. And he starts hanging out with us. We're shooting stupid student film crap with him. He's a really nice guy. And he, of course, knew Ridley. And I go, "Oh, did you ever see The Duelist?" He's like, "What the fuck is that?" And I'm like, "No, it's his very first movie that he made as a director." He goes, "Oh, okay." So we have these little dorm rooms, which are, I don't know, 5 foot by 5 foot little boxes. And we all crowd in there to watch The Duelists. And it's over. And, of course, I'm sitting there, tears in my eyes, because it's got one of the most amazing final shots in any movie you will ever see. And there's no computers. It's just, and Ridley talks about how they got that shot on the DVD. But High Pike turns to me and he goes, "That was a beautiful and awful fucking movie." So it's not everyone's taste. It takes its time, but the story about two guys who fight each other across years and years and years, from young men to old men. They always get together, try to kill each other. Set in the Napoleonic era. It's just great. If you can get past Harvey Keitel, if you can get past Harvey Keitel and Keith Carradine playing Frenchmen with
Bart,
no accent, you're fine.
This sounds like your kind of movie, Bart.
Absolutely. Charlton Heston as a Mexican.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's not too long either. It's terrific.
Do you have a movie jail movie?
A movie jail movie?
Well, you have one that you haven't seen, and so you should go right to
that
movie
is like
jail.
a crime
Like
that you haven't
mine's
seen. It's like such a classic.
Up until a few years ago, it was Gone with the Wind. I'd never seen
that
it.
is
I had never seen it.
Big movie jail.
I can't
penitentiary
think of one, honestly.
Look at you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Although this year you wouldn't, because I was trying to finish The Apple Tree. This is the first year I didn't see anything in the theater at all.
Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael Hall.
Movie jail?
Jail.
I don't
You seen that?
Yeah.
jail and
I have
cats.
that's not even probation.
That's a moving citation.
One thing will put me in movie jail: my absolute hatred of Romancing the Stone.
Society.
I think it's one of the worst movies ever made. I
Hatred?
hated it.
It might be.
I hate it.
Hatred.
I got that confused with Joe versus the Volcano, which I love. So
I thought
never mind.
I thought every funny moment was not funny. I thought it was poorly directed. That alligator was ridiculous. I just hated it.
He just threw the alligator under the
Brian
bus.
Singer and I would get into arguments over it because he loved it. And I'm like, "You're an idiot." "No, you're an idiot."
We need to come up with a name for that.
Yeah.
Duel.
Yeah, Duel.
Duel.
I know a lot of people who profess to be film geeks and who haven't seen Duel. Now that's I love Duel.
Yeah. Assholes.
You guys.
Oh, Paul, have you not seen Duel?
seen Duel.
You haven't
we are
seen Duel?
sitting
There's
down
too
and
many
watching
movies.
I bet you haven't seen
No,
the Sugar Land Express either.
There's only one first Steven Spielberg movie. that you haven't seen, and it's Duel.
Listen, I had to go see the Gunman.
Okay.
I got shit
all
to do.
good. It's all good.
So what? Going around, is there a movie you hate? Like to hear this hate of Romancing the Stone. Like I hate Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Probably not too much of a surprise. There.
Problem Child.
You hate that movie?
Oh, I hate that movie.
Hate it?
Problem Child and Reality Bites. I hate.
You hate Reality Bites?
I hate Reality Bites. I try to give it a chance.
It's one of my wife's favorite movies.
It's amazing. I try and give it a chance every couple years, and I can't get 5 minutes into. I don't know why. I hate the time, and I love Ben Stiller. At the time, I was a fan of Ben Stiller. The idea of him as a director. Winona Ryder's the most beautiful creature that exists on Earth. He's got all of the Ben Stiller show cast is on that,
and she's in like tank tops.
Oh, and she's in perfect mode. This is what pisses me off, and this is why I keep going to it. But I don't know why the tone of that movie. I'm just like, shut. I don't know, just so self-indulgent.
As you might know or suspect, many movies I hate, but Dazed and Confused is one of them. Drives
Really?
me nuts. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It
We should
looks
watch
like
the New Beverly.
Looks like it was made by a guy who was told what the 70s looked like, but didn't actually live through the 70s. This is what he thinks the 70s look like.
Yeah, but except he did go to school in exactly that year and graduated in exactly that year.
Which is even more frustrating.
It really kind of blows that theory.
Because he got it wrong.
I think
he was not paying attention.
I think I
You need
hate
to watch that one
Divergent.
again. Oh, yes?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
haven't seen it.
I'm guessing.
But I got a good feeling.
I've
Oh, I
got
also-
a good feeling about hating it.
I also hate Amore, that movie that won Best Foreign Film.
Wait, you hate that book movie,
I hate
The
the
Reader.
concept of that.
Oh, The Reader is bullshit.
Oh, The Reader. Sothersby.
Oh.
Summersby?
Hated it.
Hated Summersby.
That's
Richard
a bad
Gere?
remake.
Richard Gere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, threw my hat at the screen.
You know, I've
The
never
Return
seen
of Richard Gere.
The Intouchables. I hate that its name sounds so much like The Untouchables,
Yeah.
and that it's just about a guy that cares for a guy for a wheelchair for a year.
First of all, there's no the, and it's Intouchable.
Intouchable.
And I saw it twice.
Also-
That one I saw twice.
Is it worth seeing twice?
I loved it. Yeah, it's great,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that takes care of a guy for a year, right?
You have every right to fucking just sit in the distance and hate the title.
I don't know. I hate that title. You don't have to call it that. There's a movie called The Untouchables. Whatever.
But I think
I think I hate Ghostbusters 3.
You should. You will.
Well, I will, right?
there isn't one. I think the new one's going to be called Ghostbusters because it's a reboot.
Oh, I hate that. Then, boy, that's going to get hard because when I want to say, God, I hate Ghostbusters, I mean, it hurts
What
my
about the
body
Channing Tatum one?
to
They're
say
making a
that.
Channing Tatum one.
I
Have you heard
want
of
to
this?
say I love Ghostbusters, but I can't say that anymore because then people think I like the new Ghostbusters. It's so confusing.
It's going to be a whole
Ghostbusters?
Marvel world.
Yes.
can't
Which goes back to I made this point for 5 years on this thing.
What?
That Ghostbusters is such a bigger concept. It is the equivalent of there being two things called Star Trek total. There's two Ghostbusters movies. That is a gigantic sci-fi concept. So I actually agree with them making a Channing Tatum version
I think they
and an
should
all-female
make a bunch
version.
because then it will
Yes.
kind of water down my fear of it being bad.
They made 100 of the
Yeah.
Saturday morning
Just keep
cartoon.
making them.
Yeah. And
Eventually, something will be good.
about 50% of those are pretty good, like
Yeah.
sci-fi concepts. Anyway, sorry, Scott.
Yeah,
we got
anyway.
off topic there.
Sorry.
It's so entertaining. I
Romancing
honestly
the Stone.
don't care. It's fine.
Touched a nerve with that Romancing a Stone bullshit. Now, speaking of Joe Kramer, who was involved in your film, I want to talk about something called the Movie Guys Bump.
Oh, yes.
We goofed around with this a little bit. Oh, hey, Movie Guys Bump. Hi, so you were on our show, Movie Guy. I see huge things for the apple tree, and I'll tell you why. We have had a quite the string of Movie Guys Bumps for folks who have been on our show.
As soon as people show up,
Great things happen within a week.
2 days later, Ike
Yeah.
Barinholtz was on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, boom, he's in a Tina and Amy Poehler movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
As if they're a couple. And then Heath Corson on our show last year gets the first nod to write his own DC comic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's
Pete
cool.
Gardner was on our show, right? Everybody saw him, I think, with William Shatner had his arm around him on TV.
And he's in a Juicy Fruit commercial.
And there you go.
And
He wasn't booking any commercials before he was on our show.
that is at least quadrupled by the time.
Ross Marquand comes on here,
Right?
starts doing impersonations and stuff. Walking
Boom.
Dead.
Walking Dead.
Boom.
Boom.
I certainly hope it rubs off him.
I think it was Matt Craig. He's been like promoted through the ranks over at that Superman comic book animation thing.
The Warner Brothers deal?
Warner Brothers deal.
Yeah.
He's already a producer. Boom.
Mark Povinelli comes on our show, starts talking about his career. Mad Dogs, Amazon pilot gets picked up. David Krumholtz. David Krumholtz was on our show. Next thing you know,
all-
he's in The Judge. Now he's in new Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie Guys Bump. Grace and Corbett. Grace McPhillips and Corbett Lunsford. We're on our show talking about their short film, Cannes Film Festival.
Right.
You're on here talking about your short film?
Get ready.
Hey, what happened?
Ready.
What happened to Jamie Kennedy this
Jamie
week?
Kennedy.
Jamie
Like
Kennedy.
the
On
day
our show.
after.
2
Got
days
cast
later.
as the lead.
NBC pilot.
NBC pilot.
Did he get it?
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
the lead. Well, in the pilot, but
Back in
that's pretty
January.
big.
He had the audition literally the day after he left. Right? He said, "I can't go have snacky snacks with you because I got an audition tomorrow
think
for a
so,
pilot." It was
right?
that one.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Yeah. And if
Get
I'm wrong,
excited.
He
Get
still
ready.
had some movie guys on him when he went there and auditioned.
they smelled it.
Oh, hey,
I certainly hope it's true.
when's it going to work out for us, guys?
I know.
One of
doing
us,
all the time.
one of us has to
Zero
leave
for
the show.
zero.
J.P. Manu on our show in January, right?
Yeah.
What happened then? He did pretty
got-
well.
Got
He got
arrested
a
in
bump.
Toronto. But other than
that's
that,
right.
most everyone else,
That's
Movie
right.
Guys Bump.
Oops.
All right.
Well, that is the movie guys dump. Sometimes it happens.
If that's I don't think that's a segment because every once in a while we'll check in and see who's getting
It's
the bump.
gonna be a
But I think
segment.
a segment that will be
Yes.
on our show here. And I don't know. You've met Tom Cruise, haven't you?
Yes.
Oh, can I touch you?
He's a great guy. I was actually invited to a private screening of Valkyrie. Had no idea. He said, just be at this address, blah, 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 blah. It's over on Seward. It was some laser Pacific something. And I'm with my wife, and we're sitting there. There's nobody there. And we're just sitting in the waiting room, and all of a sudden Tom Cruise walks in.
Oh,
And he introduces himself to you?
With his then wife, Katie, and who my wife adores. Because she's a Dawson's Creek fan and all that. And I'm like, and then Brian shows up, and he's the nicest guy. He has a firm handshake. He looks you in the eye. He cares about what you think.
Can't wait.
He asked
Can't wait
what
to meet
we
him
thought about his
someday.
movie and everything. And then an hour, he goes, "Oh, we can't start the movie. I'm waiting for a friend." I'm like, "Okay." And it was Will Smith.
Why wouldn't it be Will Smith?
Yeah, he and Jada walked in about an hour later. I'm like, "This is just." So it was an interest. That was
wait a minute. Will Smith made Tom Cruise wait.
He was in traffic.
To Adam's point, though,
I've seen
Tom
that
Cruise
movie.
probably did
None of
come
them
up
were in it.
and go, "Hey, Tom Cruise," right? Like you wouldn't know. Did he do that?
He said Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Tom.
Hi, the most famous. That's the Paula Tompkins line. Hi, the most famous person in the world. Tom, was it? I hear it's helpful to say a name right after you've gotten it to help you remember it.
I thought he was a really great guy. He was
You know why?
Totally demystified the
'Cause he
celebrity
is.
thing.
All right, Lee is the world's biggest Tom Cruise fan, so let's get a little something we like to call, or we're going to start calling,
Yes.
Cruise News, and we'll have a theme at some point, but not that.
Oh,
because
so you can do this theme. Let's all say cruise news at the same time. So it'll be like dee, 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 and then we'll all go cruise news. Cruise news.
Sorry, take it away.
Thank
Bart.
you, Paul. Tom Cruise lists his compound in the West Hills of or West Hollywood Hills. It looks like it's about 2.5, 2.6 acres. Current listing $12.9 million. There's actually 2 homes. A front house has a 3-bedroom, 4-bath. The back house actually has 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. There is a stone wine cellar, and it is nestled on a hill behind a large gate. Now, Tom Cruise is 52 and has long been the box office draw, starring in such I'm sorry, am I going on too much? Do we not want to hear this much?
I'm thinking we should do this for the Admirals Club.
Cruise News.
I'm-
Not cruise biography.
I think that we should get this for the Admirals Club. I think it would make a much different impression when people come to be on the show.
If we had the $12 million place,
We should invest in the new. Yeah, he is, by the way, keeping his home in Beverly Hills. He's just selling this one.
Oh, good to know.
Thank
so
you.
he's
Thank you,
not
Bart.
moving out of town.
No, he's sticking
Good.
around.
So he
That's
won't
all
be
the
in a
news that's
different
fit to
school
Cruise.
district than you. Or
Yeah, well, the
anything.
kids are in high school. They're settled. They don't need that residency anymore. So they're
The older you get, the less crap you want around.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
The fewer homes you need.
I wonder which homes Katie got.
She's in this one. You get her.
In that case, let's definitely buy
If you
it.
can find her, she's yours.
Okay, now we mentioned earlier, Scott, that you're in the trailer business.
Yep. That's what I do during the day.
So you're cutting trailers.
Yep.
That we see in the theaters, right? You're not cutting like.
Oh, yeah, no. You see Margin Call was in the theaters. I did
All right.
that one. I did something that nobody saw called In Secret, which was Oscar Isaac, Jessica Lange, and Elizabeth Olsen. It was really good. I did
How
that
do we not
last
see
year.
that?
Yeah,
it just
Oscar
is
Isaac.
one of those period movies that kind of came and went. But it was really well made. I really enjoyed working on that.
Oscar Isaac's the real deal, isn't he?
Yes.
How much
Yeah.
footage do you get to edit the trailer?
It depends on the movie. Sometimes you just get a cut of the movie, and
Okay.
Sometimes they'll give you, here's feature 1, here's feature 2, here's feature 3, here's feature 4, and things have changed.
Okay.
And sometimes you only get one. which is usually the case because I've done about 6 Tyler Perry trailers. And all we get is the movie. That's it. Just one copy of the movie. And, you know, it's actually an interesting feather to have in your cap because he's a megastar. He's an amazing businessman.
Yeah.
But haven't done one in a while. I think he's concentrating on the TV angle right now. But yeah, it depends on the movie. Sometimes I cut one of my favorite films of the 70s was Assault on Precinct 13.
Oh, yeah. John Carpenter.
And yeah, and it's so funny how things come around because Ethan Hawke grew up with Bryan Singer in the same town, and Ethan was his childhood star. He would put in his Super 8 films. And Ethan came to my parents' house with Bryan once to shoot something in our backyard because they needed all this property, and my parents had all this property. And then years and years later, I'm in Hollywood, and I get a trailer assignment to cut the trailer for Ethan Hawke's directorial debut, which is Chelsea Walls.
Yeah. Okay.
And then a couple of years after that, I get the Assault on Precinct 13 remake, which he's in.
With Ethan Hawke.
Lawrence Fishburne?
And yes, and I had to cut that from dailies because they had just finished shooting. So it was just like bins and bins and bins of raw footage.
So what direction do you get in any of this? I mean, are these all your choices?
No. The first cut is mostly all you. Okay. By the time you've gotten through your boss, the client, the filmmakers, and in some cases the star, maybe about 10% of you is left. In the trailer. You just have to learn to let go.
Because often what happens is I end up seeing a movie that I didn't think was the movie. I've said this before. It wasn't the movie I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Right.
Whose fault is that? And is it intentional?
It depends. Usually, it's always the client has the last word. You know, they want to do something a certain way. They don't want to show a certain thing, or they do want to show a certain thing, even though if you show that thing, you might as well not watch the damn movie.
For example, we know that Tom Hanks gets off the island.
Yeah.
Because
Castaway.
we see him to reunite with Helen Hunt.
What was in it? There's the casket. What was in it? I'm like, oh, so you survived.
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
I actually have the distinction of cutting the trailer to one of the worst movies, voted one of the worst movies and possibly worst trailer of the year. It was called Ballistic, X versus 7.
Oh, that is such a famously quoted movie now.
Yeah.
People will say something X versus Sever as that sort of like, you know, Legend of Curly's Gold
Divergent.
or something.
Yeah, actually, my boss had,
Boogaloo.
at the time, my boss had Paul Osborne and I competing against each other because Paul cut a version of a trailer for the movie. I cut a trailer of the movie. Somehow mine got picked. I don't know why, because I actually thought Paul's was better. So sometimes the clients make the wrong choice. So there you go.
That is a movie I wanted to see so badly at the time, and I don't know why. I just thought it was just a cool to present this premise, and it was trying to be very Matrixy and very cool. Everything had to be John Woo at the time, right? That was just the John Woo days. If your movie wasn't John Woo, then you weren't modern and cool. But that's so funny. Like, there's no way I should see that now. Like, I never saw it.
I heard about Double Team. Remember that with
that's the worst
Jean-Claude
movie.
Van Damme and Dennis Rodman.
That's the worst
but
movie I've
until
ever
it's
seen.
described to you, and it sounds like the greatest thing
You're
ever.
right.
Then you sit down and it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a time you want to kill yourself. Yeah, it's like, no, you don't understand. Dennis Rodman jumps out of a plane, right? And he's got a backpack on, and he grabs Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he pulls the ripcord, and a giant basketball envelops around them, and they bounce on the ground to safety. I'm like, I have to see this movie.
And
then you watch it, and that, 30 seconds happens, but then sadly there's another 89 minutes and 30 seconds.
That is the worst movie. That movie is just so awful, and it should be everything cheesy that I like too. Yeah. That's what makes me even more mad. I'm like, you could just be cheesy and cool and 90s actiony, but you're not even good at that.
I got a feeling I wouldn't like Ballistic X versus Sever. Now, post Double Team, I get leery. About the horrible movie being enjoyable.
God, 90s, what was wrong with you?
It's fun to watch Lucy Liu walking around in every shot looking like this. She never smiles in the entire movie.
No
ever,
emotion in that one.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's the John Woo era. No emotion.
I never
Antonio
saw
Banderas.
I never saw Ally McBeal, so I don't think I've ever seen Lucy Liu smile at all. Anywhere.
Oh, crap.
You could have a point. She didn't
Charlie
smile
Angels?
in Kill Bill.
She had smiling in Charlie's Angels?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I just realized I think they showed The Killer last night at the New Beverly. I meant to go. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
So-
the John Woo. There was a John Woo.
Double feature. Damn.
Paul, we would be remiss if we didn't ask Mr. Storm about.
Okay, so you heard us talking about trailer percussion. What is that?
Good question.
Do people bring that to you?
I can't really discuss specifics about what I'm working on at work, but I will say that I was just asked to do something for the con market for something which is grotesquely bad.
Not con men, you mean con the festival.
Con, yes.
A bunch of con men to get together.
However you're supposed to say it. There's so many ways to say it. But the thing is, it's so cheesy and so horrible, starring someone everyone knows, and you're wondering, what is he doing? But the best way, they say you have to make it look fantastic. We know there's no action. We know it sucks. But a lot of times the percussion is what makes it look less cheesy.
Yeah.
If you use the standard, action score that the sound supervisor always gives you, it ends up being cheesy. But if you go more toward percussion, it feels less so. So most of what I chose was percussion, and lo and behold, the client was like,
but who takes credit for inventing it?
Yeah, is there a guy who goes, all right, I think, and then
hey guys,
he makes
I got
that
this
happen?
new sound for you.
Sometimes we make it up. You just get a bunch of hits and you do it the way you want to do it.
So does anyone so I assume there's a community of trailer cutters. I don't know what you guys call yourselves.
I only know Paul.
Okay.
Terribly
They're called the cut-ups.
The cut-ups.
I just made that up.
Wink. I'm just wondering if there's a guy, hey, that's mine. Bong?
You can't touch
Bong is
Bong.
me.
Bong's me.
I'm sure if there's a lot of trailer editors around town who hang out, they all trade their little stories. But
Paul, do you have any examples for him, Paul?
Oh, that's me.
I like that
I did
guy.
that one.
Did you that?
Well, just based on your
couple,
theory,
yeah.
how bad is Insurgent going to be then? We got nothing. More of this shit.
Wow.
Hey, then again, Mad Max does kind of a lot of heavy percussion.
That
shit.
actually kind of
We
sounds
think that one's great.
Batman-ish. Like the Batman score.
Well, that does sound
A little bit.
And is there any
That's true,
ownership?
little Hans Zimmer.
There's no ownership of that? Like somebody saying you can't use that?
No, these are all just like production music type hits.
I get emails from them
Yeah, I don't
constantly.
think they get
I'm like,
scored.
I don't know you. I don't want your music. I get it at home.
Oh, wow.
Here's our new music library. Check it out.
And it's all wow, wow.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
All right, well, let's go from the movies that are classic, all-timey great to...
What did you see this week?
Yeah.
We didn't even go from the classic, all-timey greats, did we? Sometimes I come up the guest
No, we
favorite
went
movie
from
of all
wow.
time. We went from Ballistic X versus Sever.
We
yeah.
did. But I'm glad we mentioned that. That's been a pop culture thing.
What did we see this week?
People mentioning it. My friends, if you go to Facebook, you can follow the exploits of them. They are called the Stiff-Legged Film Fest in Chicago. And we used to hold this festival once a year, and they would watch the complete works of, I have watched with them, the complete works of Robert Altman from beginning to end.
Oh, you saw a lot of Lyle Lovett.
I did see towards the end, Lyle Lovett does show up in almost everything he does. Yeah. We watched the complete works of Werner Herzog, and including some documentaries. Are very hard to get, and he's a very much. So this last weekend, he's doing another 2-weekender. He did the complete works of The Fly, David Cronenberg. So I tried to watch along with them. They're obsessed. They go morning to night, and I ended up doing other things. But I did get to see for the first time Shivers, Rabid, and his first 3 movies, whatever those are that lead up to. Anyway, Shivers.
Scanners is the first time I heard of them.
Yeah, Scanners.
Was it Scanners?
Yeah, I watched some of Scanners. I watched The Fly again. I haven't watched Videodrome again, but I'm dying to. I'm excited to.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very trippy
They should remake
stuff.
it with, like, Streaming Dome or something.
That's true. Streaming
Broadband Dome.
The Netflix thriller.
Yeah.
But Shivers, if anybody's a fan of like 70s classic horror, because they do lump him in is that he made one of these kind of classic, the 70s era where there's this golden age of horror resurgent, and Shivers is a really great movie. It takes place in this idyllic apartment complex where it's like special living, and everybody kind of goes into this place, and it begins with this very cynical slideshow that's like, you'll love this, and it becomes kind of a foreboding, nice voice, and you realize all these people, once they get in this apartment, that things are invading their bodies, and gradually it takes over. I don't want to blow the ending, but it's been, it's 1975, but it takes over everybody in the apartment complex, and spoiler alert, if anybody wants to tune out for a couple seconds here, the very last image of it is everybody you've seen throughout the entire movie getting taken over by these alien creatures. Actually, a genetic experiment. They made transplants, and they made the organs sentient. And then, of course, the organs go on to start taking over their bodies and attacking other people and stuff. The very end is just this long line of cars leaving. It's all of them. Now that the thing has gone through the entire apartment complex, they all now can leave. And it just shows them all filing one by one. Everybody we've seen from the entire movie just driving in this very orderly line off to the city. And that's it. That's the ending. It's like a down ending. It's coming. Like, yeah, exactly. Like they're going off to infect the world.
70s was huge
cool.
on that, from your Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, yeah, you could be totally down ending. Yeah, The Thing. Well, it's 82, but still same Carpenter and everything.
Paul and I saw The Gunman.
Yeah.
And we talked about that earlier.
The Gunman.
The Gunman.
Gunman.
What was on TV?
Jurassic Park was on
Hold up?
TNT. No, well,
that movie holds up. Absolutely.
I will make comment.
Oh wait, did you watch 3?
No, it was the original. It's a good movie, but what you notice about that movie, well, at least I did, it's so movie. Like all the moments are very movie. The score's very movie.
Spielberg's very good at that.
Exactly. It's so Spielbergian, and it's fun, but it's not quite as slick as today's movies. Right? There's something more movie about it that really lets you know you're watching a movie. The way things are set up, the way the camera's angled, just the way it looks, the way it sounds, the music cues that come in. I mean, everything is so.
It's almost calculated.
Yes, it's almost like the perfect textbook movie.
The greatest movie thing that happens in Jurassic Park, and I was such a fan, and the reason I did love Jurassic Park so much, I was in the wild throes of studying directors. This was college. I worked in a movie theater. We got to see Jurassic Park in the afternoon to test the printout because it was going to be gigantic that night.
So cool.
It was so it was really like, it was just one of those, like, and I'm ready to go and take the world on and be a film director and stuff. So I'm watching this thing like a like a Spielberg masterpiece that's coming out in my time. Like here's another Jaws for he hadn't done a movie like that in a while, and he'd the greatest thing is, so the kid is climbing the electric fence, and we realize, once they turn on the electric fence, the kid's going to get shocked. There's suspense there, right? So a masterful directing choice. They are turning on the breakers one by one, and immediately as soon as they start turning on the breakers, in my head I go, well, how do I know which one's going to electrocute the kid? And then, unmotivated by action, the only shot unmotivated by character action in the movie, the camera itself moves away from what the character is doing and just zooms in on the one, gate 5 or whatever. The camera does that of its own because we have to mentally connect. For suspense to exist, we must mentally connect where they're going that's going to shock that kid. And humans, unless they throw in a piece of dialogue like, here we are at gate C5 or whatever, and then we see C, but whatever, it does, but we don't even hear that, we don't even know that number. It could have went to any of them, but that's going to be the one that's going to shock that kid. Now that is fun movie directing. That is expert shit.
A few years earlier, Ghostbusters 2 came out, and we were talking about, we do not love that movie. But they did that thing.
If you need a second one.
Horrible direction in one scene where they're in the dark room, and they're, what's the word? Developing photos of, what's his nuts?
Slime.
Wow, this is how... I've forgotten that movie.
You just forget that.
I have pushed that movie out of my head.
I'm embarrassed to say I want to say his name, and I can't think of it either.
Yeah, so the big guy from the painting.
Yeah.
They're developing pictures of him.
Vigo.
Him up. Right, okay, Vigo.
Yeah.
And then they burst
We have
into
a giant
flame.
Vigo in my apartment. Have you seen this?
Right. Yeah, it's framed.
They burst into flame, right? And they go, oh no, quick! Get a bucket of water or a hose or something. And then they go over to the door. Oh, no, the door is locked. How are we going to get out? Like, they're literally explaining all of the action they're taking, which is just the worst. Like, how do you get that desperate after Ghostbusters, which just has its action, has its dialogue, has its story, without having to do all the worst things you can do in a movie, which is explain everything you're doing and describe the entire movie as it's happening.
And we all learned at improvisation, show, don't tell.
Hey,
right?
Show don't tell.
I can connect these thoughts. You know who I found out the producer of David Cronenberg's first 3 movies is? Ivan Reitman.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're both Canadian, and he was looking for someone to produce. Like I think from what I heard, he found the money for Shivers, but he didn't know how to direct, and so he went to the most famous Canadian director-producer, and it was Ivan Reitman. So Ivan Reitman's name are on and The Brood is his 3rd movie. Terrible. Don't say
I'd forgotten he also produced Heavy Metal.
Oh, okay, yes.
Another one of those animated films.
Ivan Reitman did.
That was new and
right.
sexy animated film.
That's right. Yeah. That's a classic example of that 70s animated. Like, Walt Disney doesn't have any special secret. There's a lot of animators out here, Yeah. That's cool.
Have you seen anything? Scott, you claim to have not seen a movie in years.
The last thing I saw was the Planet of the Apes sequel in May in a theater, because I was trying to finish The Apple Tree, and every spare moment was spent doing that, and I also have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
So getting out is hard, but I do see a lot of movies at work, and I really can't talk too much, but I have nothing but nice things to say about the two that I have seen recently. Love and Mercy, which is a story of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys.
Oh.
And you will be seeing, I think you will be seeing John Cusack in the Oscar race for this next year.
No kidding.
So
cool.
good.
As Brian Wilson.
Wow.
It's such a well-made movie. It was directed by the producer of something well-known in the past few years, and I'm spacing on
What
it
a great
right now.
story to tell, too. The Beach Boys,
Yeah,
Brian
that's
Wilson.
your story. And the
oh
other
my
one is
God.
also music is Danny Collins, which
Oh,
is,
yeah,
was,
Pacino?
Yeah. I made a post on Facebook. I'm like, sometimes my job is really cool because I'm editing raw Pacino. Because he had done some ADR that we needed because some stuff wasn't clear, and I got the takes, and I'm like, oh, this just came over from the booth, and he was just recording in the booth, and I'm getting to work on it.
That's awesome.
I'm a big Dog Day Afternoon fan, so I'm
Yeah.
like this. And Scarecrow, another movie most people haven't seen. One
Saw
of my
Scarecrow.
favorite movies.
Scarecrow, the Stiff-Legged Film Society.
Yeah.
They also did one year. This was the Best Fest, and I just happened to be in Chicago for it. And it was merely Gene Hackman in the 70s. The very first movie he did in 1970, and the very last movie he did in the 70s was Superman the movie. But yeah, they got to see Scarecrow, which is him and Pacino, and it's basically two guys go across country. It's kind of like Midnight Cowboy in a weird way, except without the
just a
gay
wonderful
sex.
movie. Loved it.
Interesting.
And Danny Collins is good.
Is really good. It's directed by the guy who wrote Crazy Stupid Love. I think his last name is Fogelman.
Oh yeah.
But I really got sucked in. And that Benny is great. It's a true story based on a true story, obviously, and of course, never fails. Christopher Plummer. He's good in just about everything. So.
Isn't he though? I mean,
He's just
years, for
great.
50 years, guy's solid. And everything.
Yeah, and this
Dragnet.
movie, Bobby Cannavale's in it, Jennifer Garner. And yeah, it's just terrific. I wish I was able, I only got to do one review spot, so I was like, I wish I could have done more, but I do believe my company did the trailer, so.
Nice.
Yeah, very good movie.
All right. Well, that's all the stuff
Inside
we
scoop.
saw, I think. Well, I saw Focus a few weeks ago, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet.
Oh.
But I really enjoyed that. The trailer looks like it's a super serious heist movie. It's also from the Crazy Stupid Love guys.
But it's charming, right?
Yeah,
How can it not
a lot
be?
more fun.
Yeah.
The end gets a little dark, but then, of course...
But it's a lot of double crossing, right?
But I even said to myself, I'm going to get ahead of this. I can see it coming. Didn't happen.
Okay,
They
so
still
is there
stay
a
one
triple
step ahead of
cross? Is there a triple cross? Does it go quadruple cross?
Double dog, quadruple?
I would say the movie looks like it goes quadruple cross. But anyway.
Yeah, it keeps peeling back layers like that. It's
Cool.
really
Triple
fun.
dog at
It's
the
really, I don't
most.
want to tell you.
Oh, peeling back layers on the lead actress?
I like
right?
onion.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the finale of the big show with Karen's celebration of the birthdays to those who are making the movies. It's time for Karen's birthdays.
Here we go. I'll hold
Take it away.
I'll hold the
meerkat.
meerkat.
Okay. All right, let's start off our week of birthdays by wishing a very happy birthday to everybody's favorite Verbinski, Gore.
Happy birthday, Gore.
Who turns 51. He turns 51, but can play anywhere from directors of successful commercials. In 1993, he created the renowned Budweiser Frog campaign. Remember that? It won 4 Clio Awards. So he used to be the director of successful commercials to the director of commercial successes like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
His biggest influences as a kid were Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis and Black Sabbath's Master of Reality. I love the fact that those are his two main influences. He started out as a guitarist for a punk rock band, the Daredevils and the Little Kings, and he also made his feature films with these guys. They were his friends, but soon he decided that he enjoyed that so much, he sold his guitar to buy a Super 8 camera, and the rest is history.
I've been told I look like him.
Oh, well.
One of our guests told me
that
I look... Oh, Lou
Probably
Temple.
Lou Temple. Yeah. He knows everything.
Oh, yeah, he worked with...
Hey,
The minute you sit down, Lou tells you who you look like.
Hey, you know what? You look like Gore. I worked on Rango with Gore.
We've had more than one voice from Rango on this
You
show.
look like him.
And next up, let's wish a very happy birthday to Ms. Rosie O'Donnell, who turns 53 but can play anywhere from a stand-up comedian to a stand-up citizen by donating $5,700,000 to Hurricane Katrina relief
Yowza.
efforts.
You know what?
She built schools, rebuilt hospitals.
Good on her.
Yeah, she's
Because she
freaking
got a bit
fierce.
much there towards the end.
Yes.
I liked her.
You're jealous because she loves Tom Cruise as
Yes.
much as you do.
And the other thing she did is she called out
Yes.
all those other celebrities for not donating She's like, the first people you need to call are all your rich friends. Don't ask the general public to pony up until you guys start pony up.
Clearly
and she started putting
did.
up good money.
Yeah,
I think she called out Clooney, and she called out Damon, she called out
Clooney,
Affleck.
called out. Got him.
We all know Rosie O'Donnell from her daytime TV show and her work on The View, which I think recently she just left. But do you know what her first movie was?
League of Their Own.
All right, very good. Now.
Oh, was that right?
You're right.
I thought there might have been something else.
No, there's a bunch of movies, but can you name, because she always played the best friend, can you name at least 3 movies where she plays the best friend?
Beautiful Girls.
Good, yep.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes, there's one more, and it's not the most obvious, but she's the best friend.
Oh, man.
Not Exit to Eden.
Oh, Exit to Eden. I was going to go Exit to
Not another stakeout.
Flintstones.
Another stakeout. Oh.
I didn't see that.
I know. Oh, well, that's okay.
There's one I don't know if I should revisit.
Rick Moranis is in it, and he's adorable. And lastly,
Perfect
let's
Barney.
wish a very happy birthday to Bruce Willis.
Oh.
Yes, who turned 60. Oh, my God.
What?
What? 60.
Jesus.
He was like 35 when you saw him in Moonlighting. Don't worry, guys. None of us are old. None of us are old.
He and Rosie O'Donnell look the same as they did 15 years ago.
Absolutely. He can play anywhere from a moonlighter to a wisecracker. We all know Bruce from his work in The Die Hard, Pulp Fiction, The Sixth Sense. But do any of you know his movie debut?
Yes.
Very
I
small
recuse
part.
myself.
Oh, a small part? Because I was
Very
going to say
small
Blind
part.
Date.
Nope.
But before Blind Date, huh?
Before Blind
I know this one.
Date.
Before,
Not Hudson Hawk.
Before Sunset?
Now,
Lee,
the
what is your
part-
favorite TV show of all time?
Was he in the Rockford Files movie?
Okay, no. But the actor from the Rockford Files was in a movie just prior to Blind Date.
Not Sunset.
It was Sunset.
I said Sunset.
Oh,
But then
you
Sunset
did?
came after Blind Date, though.
even before that, he was part. Well,
Then I'm wrong.
you're probably as right as you can be, because when I tell you the part
That's some
that
pretty geeky shit we pulled out there,
he
right?
played man entering dinner as
Oh.
Delaney leaves. So that was in the movie The First Deadly Sin.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have a feeling.
I guess if we're going Harrison Ford, what's the very first Harrison
smells
Ford?
Dead Heat on a merry-go-round.
Dead Heat on a merry-go-round, or are we going?
Or Apocalypse Now.
No, this to me smells of that extra whose elbow is seen in something, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was in a movie." But I can't, I'm just saying what IMDb stated.
Wait, before
as his
Retraction
first movie.
sneaks up on me,
Yes.
Harrison Ford was in the conversation well before Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
And American Graffiti.
Now,
for the
his
love of
first
God.
starring role was in the 1987 Blake Edwards film Blind Date with Kim Basinger and John Larroquette.
Which is very funny.
It is a really good one. Really
John
funny.
Larroquette kills in that movie.
Now, we all know that it's not very often that a director will go out of his way to work with an actor again. And I find this next fact to be incredibly telling, because 10 directors have cast and worked with Bruce Willis at least twice since. They worked with him, got him back again
And
because
that
they
goes
liked
against
him.
all we've
Yeah,
heard.
I
know,
urge everyone
that's-
to look up Kevin Smith's story. I urge
That's
everybody to look
why
that up.
I
Kevin
wanted
Smith.
to tell you that, because usually you think, oh, Bruce Willis is a pain in the ass, no one will work with him again. 10 very well-known directors have worked with him again. Can you name at least 3?
Okay, let's see.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yep, that's
Oh,
right.
good call.
Nice.
Good call.
John McTiernan.
Yep.
Yes,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right. Mhm.
Yep.
You're winning so far.
Yeah, that's good.
Daniel Waters. I don't know. I got nothing.
No, Blake Edwards, because he did Blind Date
Oh,
and
we already
Sunset.
talked about him. Okay.
True.
And also one that you might not think of, but you know that Quentin Tarantino brought him back for
Oh,
Pulp
wait.
Fiction.
The whole 9 yards
Yeah.
guy. Because they did the whole 10 yards.
Yeah.
what was
Can
that?
I cheat? I don't know his name.
Wait, I can't think.
I
I'm
think it was
looking here.
different directors, wasn't it?
I think it was different directors
Oh,
because
shit,
they don't
you're
have
right.
that. But look who's talking. Amy Heckerling.
Uh-huh.
She did the whole Look Who's Talking series. Rob Reiner, The Story of Us, and North. Alan Zoibel wrote The Story of Us.
Oh, he
that
wrote
was kind
North.
of interesting. North. Barry Levinson, Bandits, and Just What Happened. What just happened?
Which I got the trailer for.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
And
Oh,
Robert
I like that movie.
Rodriguez, Sin City, Planet Terror.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And Rob Reiner. I
small
think I said
parts.
that already.
Yeah, you said it.
All right. So, I'm just saying.
He's not the asshole you've heard.
We hear he's an asshole, and apparently not.
Everyone
Now,
has a bad day.
now, Bart, you know how much I love to hear when celebrities sing.
This is true. People are constantly asking me, could you tell me 2 interesting things about Karen Volpe? And I'll say she hates Divergent, and she hasn't seen it,
I haven't seen it.
and loves when celebrities sing.
I do love when celebrities sing, and I know that we're wishing all these guys happy birthdays, Bruce Willis and everybody. So I would like to listen to one of our favorite guys associated with the movies sing a little ditty with a little Brandy Carlisle. So we're going to take you now to Raise Hell, as sung by our main movie guy, Paul Preston.
Yay, Paul Preston.
It is my birthday.
With Ms. Brandy Carlisle.
You didn't go with Bruno Peters?
I know, I flipped the bait switch.
Went down with a broken heart since the day I
That's right, I'm Johnny cashing the shit out
He gave me a crooked start when he gave me crooked feet. But Gabriel done came.
All right, well, I think that's it. We'll go out on that. That wraps another movie Showcast, everybody. Together we are the Movie Guys. Individually we are.
Yeah,
Preston. You can all follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys for daily jokes and links. Also on Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as iTunes, Vimeo, YouTube, Funny or Die, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, LinkedIn, Meerkat. What the hell else? Anything else? Oh, that's plenty. Thanks to Scott Storm for coming by and telling us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Story. Where can we find what you're up to and track the Apple Tree?
The Apple Tree has a website, appletreemovie.com, and pretty much everything's on there, including everything I'm working on now into the future.
Nice.
So it's all good.
And there's an IMDb page.
There's an IMDb page also, and I will be posting film festival information as it comes in.
Cool. And thanks to Steve Schultz for his writing contributions to the show every week. And remember, you can always find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. Next week, we're back with Home and Get Hard. Two great tastes that taste
Done
great
and
together.
done.
I've worked on both of those.
Yeah.
No kidding?
Oh, awesome.
In the trailers?
Yeah, TV spots.
TV spots, cool. Well, we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Strike eyes of bright clear blue.
Get out of here, Randy.
I took a time.